What's going on, everyone? So, one of the big kind of questions this offseason was, is Austin Reaves actually working out? Is Austin Reaves actually on the basketball court, playing his game? He had a long kind of year and a half stretch, even into the end of this season, right? He went from basically being a guy that got sparing minutes at times, no real consistency as far as role minutes and time on the basketball court, to LeBron going down, needing somebody to step up. He steps in, emerges, and then immediately becomes the player that plays the most minutes from that moment forward, including the playoffs, and then jumps immediately into a deep playoff run that led to the conference finals, and then immediately into FIBA, in which he again played a very heavy role with the Olympic team, and then immediately jumped into training camp, preseason, 82 games in the regular season. A lot of talk about just tired legs. And it's like, okay, it's understandable, right? Take a month, take a little time to yourself, kind of let yourself get some rest, right? Because we need the best version of Austin Reaves possible. And all we saw was him playing golf and, hanging out with his girl and stuff like that, which, again, go on with your bad self, right? Nothing wrong with that. Take some time to yourself. You want to enjoy yourself, but it was like, is he doing any work? Is he bulking up? Is he, working on his game and trying to get back to a level of consistency? And, we got the media day, and he relayed that, like, hey, I have been, right? I just don't post about it. There's nothing wrong with people posting. You see a lot of people that post everything that they do and all the workouts. And he even said it actually is a benefit in a lot of ways that people do that, because, it allows you to take some stuff that you can maybe implement in your workouts and stuff. So he had some high praise in that regard. And, it was great to hear. Again, I didn't doubt that he was doing workouts. I didn't doubt that he was, working up, playing basketball. I mean, that's what he does for a living, right? So I don't doubt that he was in the gym, but it's like, to what degree, what level, how long did you take off? Because Austin Reaves he wasn't great last year. He wasn't as bad as a lot of people try to make him out to be. Even in a down year, he gave you 16, 4, and 6. It's not terrible. Especially, he was also the fourth option, but it was his lack of consistency and efficiency. Like, the thing that made Austin Reaves great the year prior was he was very aggressive. His emergence came through him looking for his shot, hunting his shot, kind of getting to the teeth of the defense, being consistent night in and night out, right? Having these stretches where he was averaging 20 a game and just being a monster, right? And then you look and he gets to the playoffs and he's like even better in the playoffs and he's just dominant. And it's just like, man, this is a guy that, like, man, we desperately needed a guy like this. And then you look at last year and it was just like he's incredibly inconsistent, had a rough start to the season. Right? He had for a quarter of the season shooting 28%, I think it was, from 3-point range. And then he finally started to turn it around a little bit. It started with him coming off the bench, right? And he actually was leading in Sixth Man of the Year conversations. And then he kind of worked his way back into the starting lineup. And then, he wasn't terrible, but he was very inconsistent. Right? It's like he'd have these 5-game little pockets. And it was so many times we'd be like, man, is that it? Is Austin Reaves finally back? And then no, right? It would just be 5 games where he just, he's giving you 23, 5 and 5, and you're just like, yes, let's go. There's Reaves. He's shooting 40% from 3-point range. He's knocking them down. He's looking good. He's being aggressive. He's attacking the closeout. He's attacking the defense, getting into the teeth, drawing contact, doing all of these things. And then he would just hit a 3 or 4 game stretch where he was awful. And he'd be 1 of 5 from 3 and just give you 8 points or 10 points or whatever. And just all over the place. And then defensively just was terrible. And it was just man, he's not an elite defensive guy, but he wasn't bad. He wasn't basically a traffic cone out there. Right? He wasn't an open door where people just kind of running through it. He was good enough to be serviceable. And then you saw in the playoffs, he actually was very good in the playoffs. But we need him to be the best version of himself possible. We know what he does in the playoffs. He elevates. In the playoffs so far, so like you look at even like his playoff numbers, they're very comparable to the previous year. So like that the emergence here, played in 16 games. He averaged 36.2 minutes. He shot 46.4% total from the field, 44.3% from three on 5.5 attempts, and 48.1% from 2-point range on 6.6 attempts. He shot 89.5% from the foul line on 3.6 attempts. He had 4.4 rebounds, 3 defensive, 1.3 offensive, 4.6 assists. Will be nice and rounded up to a steal and half a block with 1.6 turnovers. And then you look at the last season in 5 games, 34.8 minutes, shot 47.6% from the field. He shot 26.9% from three. 27% from 3-point range on 5.2 attempts. That's the difference. But he shot 62.2% on 2-point attempts on 7.4 attempts. So almost a full attempt more. And he had an EFG of 53.2% compared to 56.4%. It's like I talked about all season long. He couldn't shoot the basketball. And we need him, D'Angelo Russell, and Rui Hachimura are so important for this team. So impactful for this team. Right? Like we need these three to be the best versions of themselves in the regular season and the playoffs. Right? Rui disappeared in the playoffs. D'Angelo Russell was good in like half the games. You know, Austin Reaves, again, wasn't bad. Again, you look at his total points in the playoffs, he's 16.8 compared to 16.9. So you're like, oh, man. Again, if you just look at the stat line, you're like, he wasn't far off, right? 3.6 assists compared to 4.6, 3.8 rebounds compared to 4.4 rebounds, right? But it's, again, his lack of shooting and his lack of aggression in a lot of ways, right? Again, you look at the previous year, the thing that made him so great was he was always in attack mode. And maybe that was a big part of Darvin Ham, because Darvin Ham really wanted Austin Reaves to be more of a playmaker. Austin Reaves even expressed that he wanted to be more of a playmaker, but he wasn't capable of doing it. And it kind of just took him out of his game, took him out of his element, right? Because he wasn't able, he didn't know how to balance playmaking with scoring, right? It was just kind of like one or the other, but he's not this great playmaker. He can make plays in the midst of things, especially when he's cooking and he's being aggressive and he's hunting and trying to find his shot. Look, I'm very high on Austin Reaves. I like Austin Reaves a lot. Been very critical of Austin Reaves lately. But, you know, you look at the previous offseason, I talked about Austin Reaves like he was, you know, the second coming of Michael Jordan. I talked about Austin Reaves like he was this super duper star. You know, I thought he could be a 25-5 guy, not 25 points. I'm talking 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I thought he could be that kind of guy, and I still do think he can be. And look, JJ Redick has talked heavily about being able to maximize and get D'Lo to have a breakout, you know, season, kind of have a career year. Even D'Lo's been like, man, that's the nicest thing a coach has ever said to me. Rui Hachimura has talked about how he can get the most out of Rui Hachimura. And then Austin Reaves. He's probably talked about Austin Reaves more than anybody. Now, JJ said that he talked to D'Angelo Russell more than anybody, but actual players that JJ's mentioned, Austin Reaves is up there on that list. He has a lot of expectations and beliefs with Austin Reaves. Also, you know, even Rob Pelinka. You know, there's been a lot of talk about him being kind of like, they compared him to like Jalen Brunson, right? And it's hard to see, especially as like the 6th or the 4th best player on this team, but I don't think it's that insane, right? You look at their their stats and you look at kind of the comparisons with those two, they're very similar. It's just the attempts, the field goal attempts. Austin Reaves just doesn't get the attempts that Jalen Brunson gets. But Jalen Brunson has also shown the ability to consistently, game in and game out, give you what you need in that regard, right? Like, Austin Reaves wasn't very consistent last season. Austin Reaves wasn't great in being that guy game in and game out, being able to provide you that scoring punch, being that efficient player, that efficient scorer. We need him to get back to better consistency. We need to be able to count on him night in and night out to kind of be that guy that you can trust. And look, they've talked about wanting to put the ball in his hands more and let him kind of be more aggressive and look for his shot more. Right? Austin Reaves even talked about it, how he needs to be more aggressive. And that's been my biggest thing. He just was not, he settled so much more last year, but he couldn't shoot. Is the problem. It's one thing if you're settling and you're shooting 40% plus from 3-point range. Sure, settle all day. But when you're shooting, in the 30s, and for large stretches shooting in the low to mid 30s, I don't want you to settle. Right? Now again, they said it was tired legs. Okay, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because it's very understandable. You look at, because it wasn't like he was some big star that was playing 35 minutes a game in and game out, right? And even people were like, well, Anthony Edwards didn't. Look at him. Yeah, Anthony Edwards is also, was 21 and hyper athletic, right? Like Austin Reaves is 25 and not athletic, right? Like there's big differences compared to like Anthony Edwards and, Austin Reaves. And Anthony Edwards was accustomed to playing 35 minutes a game. When Austin Reaves went from basically playing no minutes to, now he's playing 35 minutes a game. Big difference, right? A lot of differences there. But look, I still believe in Austin Reaves. I still think he can be great this season, and I think he's going to have a real impact. But we'll see. Time will tell. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think Austin Reaves is going to have a big impact this year? Do you think that he's going to get back to being that consistent Austin Reaves we all know and love? Do you think that those days are gone? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.